This reaction is going to be Daniella from The Warning. I think we're going to get into her guitar setup and her pedal board. Anyway, I'm Dethfender. If you like this type of content, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm going in this blind. I just figured do a reaction. Got to get my cans up. And anybody on Twitch want to give me a follow? That'd be awesome. All right, let's just do it, shall we? Oh. Gear Masters is part of the digital tour bus thing. I'm not really sure. Somebody suggested doing this.
Hey everybody, I'm Dany from The Warning. I'm the guitar player and singer of the band. We're super excited to be headed out on tour, promoting our newest single, which is called More. Go ahead and listen to it. And today, I'm gonna be taking you through one of my guitars. Well, a lot of them. But first, this amazing PRS guitar. She's my baby.
That's a nice guitar. I don't know anything about Paul Reed Smith guitars. As far as I've never actually played one myself. They're expensive. Even the lower end ones are pretty expensive. That's a beautiful guitar.
This is a custom 2408 guitar. She was my first PRS guitar, and I completely fell in love with her during the pandemic. I was kind of in this dating sense in guitars. I was really trying to find out where I was the most comfortable, and I found it right here with this beautiful baby. I take her everywhere. She's been with me through a lot of tours.
No, it's funny how she mentioned it's almost like a dating type of thing. Guitar players are notorious for having a guitar that they have almost like a relationship with. And I'm not talking about like a sexual relationship. I mean an emotional relationship, right? Take care of it, you polish it, you play it. It's strange. I think saxophone players are like that too. And I'm also looking at her setup here. She's got it looks like a toggle switch. I think the other switches are, she's probably going to talk about it. Some of these custom Paul Reed Smiths, I read about it, that you can have half and half of your pickups. So you would have certain switches that will use part of the bridge pickup and part of the neck pickup. It's kind of like a 5-way switch, but you also have the toggle on top. She'll explain it better than I will, but all right, let's keep going.
And this is my main
those switches right there
go-to guitar, which is super cool because if you see here, we have, this is the cool thing about the custom 2408. We have the split coils, which you can have different combinations.
Yeah, see, split coils. Yeah, I didn't know the exact name of it. I just know that there's the toggle on top, but that's pretty cool because you can come up with different tones. It's similar to a 5-way switch on a Fender, but different. But usually you have 3 pickups, and these are double humbuckers. I didn't mean to cut her off. Let her talk about it. It's her guitar.
Go-to guitar, which is super cool because if you see here, we have, this is the cool thing about the custom 2408. We have the split coils, which you can have different combinations of pickups between all the different settings. We have this double switch here, and I did a little bit of modification. This is really new, but look at this. If I click on this switch, we get some LED lights in here for when everything goes dark. I will not lose my way.
That reminds me of R.I.P. Ace Frehley. He used to have that fake pickup that he had the switch where it'd smoke, but different effect because she's got the fret markers, so she knows the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, which makes sense. If you're on a dark stage, sometimes it's super difficult to see the fretboard.
It's very, very cool. You know, even though we're a super rock and roll band, most of my, the tunings of the songs are in E standard. I usually go all the way in tone, all the way in volume, because I'm the only guitar on stage, so I want to be as loud and as clear as possible. Also with the bridge pickups. And here, I used to I really like to use both my humbuckers to the most I can, right? I have some parts with cleans that I will go up here, but usually I just leave it like that. I like to play that with that more around in the studio, but for live purposes, that's usually where I just go all out.
So it sounds like she's able to to have a setting where both her bridge and her neck pickup is picking up, which is way different than the Strat or like a Les Paul, if that's the case. That's interesting. That's cool. It's a beautiful guitar. I could never afford a Paul Reed Smith. It can get very expensive. A couple grand, I'm sure a guitar, the custom like that, probably at least 10 to 20 grand. I've seen like the Carlos Santana Paul Reed Smith. I think that was 25,000, and that was years ago. So, you know, and they go up in value.
For the strings, I use 1046. These are the D'Addario strings, NYXL.
So she uses 10 gauge for the high E, and she's in standard tuning, which hearing that for the type of rock band. Wait, I did hear that she had a baritone guitar as well, so it has more of a bassy sound to it. I used to have a baritone guitar, but I didn't like it because it had a neck that was almost as long as a bass guitar, and the strings were freaking hard to find, and they were super long. You couldn't put like regular gauge strings of any kind. Even the highest regular gauge strings, like 14s, weren't long enough. You had to get, I think, a 70 low E. It's almost like a bass string, and it was a pain in the ass, so I just sold the thing. I regret doing that because I love the tone of it. And also those pack of strings for that baritone, because the length were $50. So every time you needed to change strings, it's $50. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, they're thinner strings because I have a tiny hand, but it's all good. They rock just as hard. So yeah, those are the strings that I use. So I really hope I don't.
Jeff Beck played on 8s, which she was on 10s, and he was on 8s. And I read about Jimi Hendrix and him hung out for a while. And Hendrix told him, "Why are you playing on those rubber bands?" Because Hendrix used to play on really heavy gauge string. Stevie Ray Vaughan played on, I believe, 14s, and he was only a half step down. I heard that he used to have cuts in his fingers from bending the strings and that vibrato that he had. Some of the string gauges can get super freaking heavy. Yeah.
Cry when I tell you the story about this guitar. So this is the Gibson Explorer that was gifted to me last year by one of my idols, Lzzy Hale. It's an incredible story because I was waiting for a guitar change from my guitar tech mid-show, and then I realized that he comes to take my guitar but he doesn't give me anything back, and I was just like, oh my god, what's happening? And then before I knew it, Lzzy Hale comes running on stage with this guitar and just like hands it to me. I was like, you're kidding. I thought she was lending me one of her guitars because it looks like really similar, but then after the show I was just like, I couldn't believe it, and she told me like, that is for you, and it was specifically made with the things that you like, your strings, this pickups, which yes, I love. And honestly, I still can't believe it. I take it everywhere with me because one of the things that she says, like, it's for you, please rock as hard as you can with it, and that's what I plan to do. I use this guitar very much the same as I use my PRS guitar.
You can see how much longer the neck is. Gibson, when they have like the Flying V, the Destroyer, the necks are pretty long. Some guitars just feel weird, and then other times you pick up another guitar and it's just like, wow, this is the guitar for me. Something that happens, and I think this is the type of feeling she got when she was talking about the Paul Reed Smith and this guitar. She said it was custom made, not the way she liked it.
Take it everywhere with me because one of the things that she says, like, it's for you, please rock as hard as you can with it, and that's what I plan to do. I use this guitar very much the same as I use my PRS guitar. The only difference in this is that I had to like get used to the size of it.
Yeah.
The first day I played it, I already nicked it. Oh my god, it has some battle scars. I'm not used to the dimensions, but I love it. All right. This one has a very similar story to the Explorer, which is crazy to think about. I just got this last month from the one and only Matt Bellamy from Muse. They have been my idols since I could remember. And we were talking about guitars, and at one point he just goes like, "What's your favorite color?" And I was just like, I panicked, I just said yellow. I was just like, "But what kind of yellow?" It's like mustard yellow. Before I knew it, I have a one-of-a-kind Manson mustard yellow guitar. It's the only one that exists in this color. But the model is an Onyx 6 because of the 6 strings. It's fairly new in the Manson world. I'm just trying it out. I'm testing it out live to see what are the songs, what are the tunings that I can use on it, and overall I'm still getting used to it, but it's gonna be my new best friend. I know it. We're gonna have great times together. And I also love the inverted headstock here. It's just like, ooh, nice. So overall, really love this guitar, and I can't wait to play it more. This is the pick that I use. It's a Big Stubby.
That's an interesting pick right there. For years, I never trusted any guitar that had the tuning pegs on the top and the bottom, like Les Paul. For some reason, I never trusted it. But you see how that guitar had all the tuning pegs were on the very bottom, and her other guitar, Paul Reed Smith, has on the top and bottom. I'd never gotten the guitars like that for some reason, but then the first time I picked up Les Paul and played it, a really good one, I was like, oh my God, it sounds amazing. It's almost like cheating. Then I ended up buying one years later, and a friend of mine, because I had it tuned a certain way and it had heavy strings on it. And I told him at the time I was homeless, and the only thing I had was my guitars. I had 2 guitars. And I told him, don't tune it to standard tuning. If you tune it, and I gave him the instructions, this is the way to tune it. And he freaking bent the neck, and it got cracked. And the thing is, those are glued on necks. But where it got cracked is in a very, I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. But the point is, like, guitars are temperamental. Anyway, so yeah, I want to check out this pick. Is crazy looking. I use a Jazz 3. Yeah, see how all the tuning pegs are on the very bottom, like Strats that I have them on the top. Either way, it doesn't matter. This one looks pretty cool.
Inverted headstock here. It's just like, ooh, nice. So overall, really love this guitar, and I can't wait to play it more. This is the pick that I use. It's a Big Stubby from Dunlop. And it's very funny. This is usually a jazz pickup, but I love how the grip feels on it, and honestly, was made for me. Even though the sound could be a little bit harder with other picks, I really like this one because I feel like at the end of the day, the more comfortable you are with what you're playing, the better. So, yeah. Welcome to my battle station.
I use the Jazz 3. I tried I think there was a Jazz 2, it's a little thicker. It didn't feel the same. When I used to shred years ago, I don't now because I suck at shredding. I can't play nearly as fast or as clean or as precise as I used to when I played all the time. But yeah, that's the only pick that feels comfortable when I play. I try to use like those thinner ones, and they always break, or I drop it. So I understand what she means by when you find the right pick, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it works for you, go for it. This pedal board looks awesome.
This is a Kemper Profiler pedal board, which I control every single song that I have on here. I have all the different titles of all of our songs. Oh, let me find our new single. Wait. There it is, more. What I love about this, it doesn't sound digital at all. I've had different types of pedal boards throughout the years, but I love the Kemper because it's very organic sounding.
This is the first time I ever heard of a Kemper board. I thought it was, when I heard about it, I thought it was something more like the Bob Bradshaw, which is an old school custom made board that he would make for people, similar but different. But it's cool that she has all the amp sounds for each song, and she programmed it into the pedal board. That comes in handy.
I'm not gonna lie, to build this beauty took me a while. The cool thing about the amps and cabinets that I'm using is that they have been profiled, and those are David Bendeth's amplifiers and the ones that we used to record our latest album because he was our producer. And I love that I can use the exact sound that I had for the recording and give it new life for the live version. So that is absolutely amazing to me. I usually have 4 different settings. We have the clean one, I go to my main one, and my main one are the chunky ones. That's are the things I use to do my palm mute. So they're a little less behind in gain. So like,
Oh yeah, so the Metallica chugging type of sound. You don't want too much distortion, but you want it to be nice and clear and heavier sounding. This is pretty cool. I like this.
they don't feedback a lot. Then I have like my big sound, which usually I add a harmonizer to it, which I'm only the only.
Okay, so that's what I was hearing. People were telling me about the harmonizer. When I talk about pedals like that, you can modulate them or you can leave it in one setting and use it as a harmonizer. Actual harmonizer that wasn't like the whammy pedal, but it has similar functions. And then you can harmonize your guitar like thirds, fourths, fifths, octave to make it sound like 2 guitars. And if you split the signal, say you have one go to your mixing board and one going to an amp, technically that's 2 sounds. And you can make them sound like 2 guitars because you're harmonizing your one guitar. And I see she's got an expression pedal, which works kind of like with a whammy pedal, or even the volume swell pedals, stuff like that. Wah pedal, you can leave it in one position and it'll have a tone that you can use almost like an EQ. And then you can drop it to the floor, and it'll have more treble, like right here. And then when you bring it up, it has more bass. And you could do the same thing with like the whammy pedals, the volume swell pedals, because there's pedals you can use for more or less volume, tremolo pedals, anything that you can modulate. And then obviously you can move it up and down to get that more, wow, wow, wow type of sound with a wah pedal, or the tremolo sound that has that whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with that. On the far end of her pedal board works just like this does. The only difference is this pedal doesn't work at the moment because it's all beat up. It's been sitting here for a while. It's like a brick. Right now it's out of commission. Anyway, and they call that an expression pedal when you have it on a pedal board.
Guitar on stage, so I like to have a low octave as well, so I can just kind of grow super big, and that's my whammy one. I usually have a bridge one, which has a little bit more delay and reverb on it, so that it kind of like breathes a little bit more, and that's usually all that I do.
Okay, all right. So yeah, she doesn't have a wah pedal. Some effects sound similar to a wah if you leave it in one position or another. Like an envelope filter has a very similar sound to a wah pedal if you just leave it in like one position. Even a chorus, if you have it at a certain rate or depth, it sounds like a wah pedal if it's not moved up and down, because it has like that modulating effect. Any effect that modulates can sound similar depending on how it's set. Like sometimes it's obvious what it is, other times it's not quite as obvious. So when I thought I heard a wah pedal in there, I was mistaken. So just saying, I'm not going to pick up everything, obviously. And until now, I didn't know what she was even playing on. I just happened to see that she's got an expression pedal over there. And the first thing I thought of is, that's cool. She probably uses it for a wah, but I'm mistaken. But she could use it for digital delay if she wants to use more or less, or the bypass everything. Depends on how you set it up. But anyway, I'm just yapping.
In basically each song. I actually have some songs that I love to play with the expression pedal and just going an octave higher. So I would just like play a note and go, and in solos, that's really, really cool. I don't use a lot of whammy in general for solos. It's just not my thing, but here is where I use it. I do not have a guitar plugged in. I'm just realizing that, so I can't show you. But in this one, I use the expression pedal a lot for that. Since I'm already using an amp over here, I
This is a preamp, an orange preamp,
do not find the necessity of
or
having
a
one
little
here,
power
but
amp.
I love to hear my amp on stage. I love to feel the sound of the guitar, so I usually go through this pedal baby, which is just a preamp, into the cab so I can have my sound here, and the pedal board goes straight into the front of house console and just blast it out through the PA. Thank you for watching, everybody. You can watch our content on The Warning Rock Band on Instagram, we're The Warning on Facebook, and everywhere else. So thank you so much, and keep on rocking.
I'm not gonna catch every sound that an artist, like a guitarist or a bass player or drummer, does sometimes. If I say, hey, it sounds like a wah pedal, I don't know if it is. Like, I go into a lot of reactions blind. Like, I don't go and investigate too much. I want to have it like when you drive down the road and you have Spotify on, a random song comes on, right? And you're like, what is that? And that's the way I like to have it. If I've heard the song before, I'll just talk about the band or things that I do know about them. As I get to know the Warning, I'm not going to mention certain things that I thought about before that I assumed that I heard, but I did hear multiple guitar sounds, so I wasn't losing my mind there. But that's cool. I like that. This was interesting. I love this type of content because it just like organically shows you what they do behind the scenes. I like reading about artists. I got tons of guitar magazines. Throughout the years, I've been collecting them, even old guitar magazines. Guitar for the Practicing Musician, that before my time. I had more of them, but when I was homeless, some of them got stolen. I had them in storage. It's amazing some of the things that you read about or you find out about artists. There are some really big name guitar players that have their guitar tech in the back manipulate all the pedals for them. Sometimes guitar players will have multiple crybaby wah pedals all hooked up in it, basically different parts of the stage so they can manipulate them. Other guitar players don't want to have their pedal board in front of them because it's a mess. They want to be able to move around. So they have their guitar tech take care of it. So me just going by my own experience, things that I've read and things that I've gone through myself and things that I've heard and what I thought I heard, that's why I say those things. I don't say it as like matter of factly. I just say, hey, I think that's a wah, or hey, think that's a chorus. Or hey, you know what? I think maybe that's a tremolo. Some of those modulating effects sound so similar in certain settings, especially with distortion. Whereas some things are super obvious, right? So, anyway, if you like this type of content, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Twitch, please give me a follow. I'm Dethfender. Talk to y'all later. Peace.